in today's buy the rumor, sell the news event, which is actually the capitulation, the contrarian view, which is opposite, which is sell the rumor, buy the news, which is happening. And I have to point out that I hate Twitter and I hate most of the content creators because of the sheer fact that they are just fear-mongering because they get paid to make money when everyone is scared. Okay, it's dubious, it's bad. Tom Cowan, all these guys, Crypto Rover, I'm calling them all out because they all do it. They get paid to do it. We're at 16, and so what do I see? I see, oh, big stock wipeout. We're going down to 30%. You know what's different this time? This was already priced in, and we saw it. And why was it priced in? Well, for one, every time that you normally had a Bank of Japan hike, things were overextended. Funding was positive. You had a lot of leveraged longs. We were near all-time highs. We were starting to roll over, okay? And it was just a excuse to then just crash the market. This is the exact opposite. We are starting to curl up. Funding is negative. And if we look at stocks, well, stocks are risk on. The dollar is not at its over 110 or so. That's risk off. Okay. You've got the U.S. Treasury bonds are a little bit extended today, but that's because of part of the news. And I'm digressing just a little bit. The VIX is at 15. We are not at fear of 60 or 30. This is the volatility index. Usually when the Bank of Japan raises stuff, we spike, okay? And same thing happens. They start selling our treasury bonds and our dollar goes up and our interest rates have to go up. This is not happening, okay? This was definitely sell the rumor, buy the news event. And I gotta point out some things that are happening. This guy, Ted, he says that a whale opened along for 90 million with an hour ago liquidation at 89,000. Well, you know what happened an hour ago? An hour ago, you had Bitcoin go to his liquidation, 90,400. Complete BS post. Okay, we have more. All right, as far as Crypto Rover saying that this is the biggest witching expire will happen now. Every time this has happened, Bitcoin has dropped 16%, 7%, and then the last time it happened was at 7.5%. Well, you know what was different last time? The max pain was below when options expired worthless. You know what options expired today as? Well, for SPYX, the SP 500, options expire worthless if we are around the max pain, which is 6,835, which ironically, we are at 6,836. Okay, what happened if I continue looking back at some of these things? Bitcoin Archive says that $3.1 billion of Bitcoin and Ethereum options expired to say we could see more volatility. This was at 625. Does this SOB not realize that options expired at 1 a.m. and what happened at 1 a.m.? Okay, if I'm looking at, that's 5 a.m., that's 9 p.m., 1 a.m., price on Bitcoin closed at 88,169, which was the max pain for the options. That headwind is already gone. What is happening currently? Well, we just have this extremely long downward trend line that we are not being able to break because of all this negativity with sentiment and news. But we are almost done with it. The last big catalyst was the Bank of Japan rate hike, which was dovish. They didn't surprise. Markets like to price in what they know and they move on what they don't know. And what did the tone of the Bank of Japan say? They said, well, we're looking at raising some rates and we don't really plan on much more. We're in a decent position. It was very dovish for a rate hike. Okay, that was good. Why do you think Powell always rally into a rate cut, and then what happens? His ass gets on there and says, oh, we're not doing so high, everything's inflated, inflation is going up, so then markets tank, and that is what we've seen the last couple rate hikes. This is the exact opposite of what's happening. You can see we're making a double bottom, actually a W bottom is what I mean, and once we break above this, okay, the next max pain level, which is next week, next Friday, where you have the end of the options expire for Bitcoin, and that max pain is around 102. Well, if I look at the weekly and I turn on the moving averages, which Penn Cowan would love to see because, you know, in Crypto Rover and all these giant bears, Ivan on Tech, these guys with massive followings, they are saying, oh, we're probably going to get one more bump to at least the 50 or 21 moving average, and then we're going to roll over, and that's going to be our head and shoulders, and it's going down to this 200-day down to 55. I call complete BS, because macro, what is happening with macro? There's lots of liquidity coming in. Quantitative tightening has ended. We're starting to ease. The printer is warming up. China has lowered rates. Europe has lowered rates. We have lowered rates, and we're probably going to lower more rates. We've got the Clarity Act that is coming next month or at the end of this month. We've got the new Fed chair that is going to be announced, and Powell potentially stepping down. There is so much good stuff that is going on, and the last catalyst was this Bank of Japan. And if you look at this, we've had this elongated 8-week just accumulation period where everyone thought it was over with. If you looked at the sentiment, we are down at like that 15 where we are now, and every YouTuber and everyone was saying we are going to this 200-day, and it was all over. Wrong. What happened? We got the inverse. Okay, right now Trump needs to refinance his debt. He needs things lower. And as much as I like my president, Donald Trump, and I voted for his ass, I'm starting to contradict myself because of the max pain that has gone on in 2025 with the tomfoolery, with the tariffs, and so much other BS with these little micro wars, and it's all about control. It's the same thing with how crypto was supposed to be decentralized, and you've got these big guys with Bybit and these perpetual future contracts that don't give a crap about you. I got money stolen from one of them because they didn't want me to win, and we've seen it time and time happen. What happened on October 10th? I lost another 20 grand because we had one wick of 126 to 10. You couldn't use the Bitcoin network fast enough to install margin, and things just went through the floor. On spot, prices never went down that low, but on perpetual future contracts, that was Binance that caused everything. It was all A-okay. They created this, and this is about somebody that should probably be in prison again. But no, because there's no regulation, it is okay. We see this stuff happen with futures, right? We saw it happen this week on Bitcoin with yesterday before the fear of the rate hike, is we had a CME gap on Bitcoin, and it was a magnet to the upside, but we instantly tagged it and then reversed because everyone was scared of this Bank of Japan BS. And it's got a lot to do with people posting like this. But you know what actually happened? Well, things have been bought. And look at the price of Bitcoin now. We're at 88,000. Yes, we are having a hard time getting above this trend line, and eventually we will pump above this trend line. And I believe we're going to go to that max pain close to next week of around 102. And you will see once sentiment clears and we start going to greed, you are going to have more people start bull posting because they get paid to bull post. All right. I truthfully believe that next week and into January, we are going to see an upward trajectory to potentially 117. Okay, it can happen fast. Yes, that is a pretty big move. It's 15% to there, it's 30% to there, but we have seen big moves happen, and it could happen within 2 to 5 weeks. Yes, I do believe if we look at the fundamentals on things, we are touching a support trend for a long time. If you look at stocks are above the $6,800 mark. I'm not going to argue with you that yes, this is a rising wedge and it looks scary, but risk is on because the dollar is under 100. The VIX is low. We've got room to pump. The Bank of Japan is a tailwind now. The only headwind we have is the options expiring, and just because options are expiring, it doesn't mean that we have to go lower. These are the year-end options where people were very bullish, and that's why the max pain is around $102,000. That is a magnet to the upside with a lot of the fundamentals happening that macroly, that things are looking good for the first quarter of 2026. Yes, this will eventually pump down, and we have a much longer trend line that is right around the $5,000 mark. Will we potentially hit something like that? We have a good chance of hitting it, and that's going to be a massive catalyst, but we need a blow off top. To me, if you look at this and you see what is happening, we are confirming a trend reversal up, continuing to go up from every time that we tag this. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Unless we get rejected at new all times, which we may, right? But I do see us going up to Bitcoin, potentially having that blow off top. If I look back at Bitcoin at the 140, blow off top would be 150, 160. That would be enough to scare me to go, because if we look at the RSIs on the weekly, we are incredibly getting oversold. Every time that has happened, we have bounced, right? On the monthly, where is it at? Monthly isn't quite as bad. The daily, we are been oversold. To me, we are in cahoots to go up. Solana, same thing. It is in this downward falling wedge, which should break up. We closed lower. Yes, we did, even though it was interesting that Bitcoin was able to make higher lows this whole time, where we had the first Bank of Japan scare, which is why this has been priced in, was at 80,000. Then we retested at 83,000, and then yesterday we retested at 84,000. To me, that is higher lows. And what happened to Solana? We went down to 121, then 123, and then we completely flushed the market with a liquidity grab to 116. Ooh, very scary, okay? But once we break and we break out exponentially. This is Johnny Crypto. I'm here to help, not throw just hopium and BS to you guys. But if you're at the edge of your rope, it's time to tie a knot rather than capitulate and sell when you have the biggest opportunity potentially ahead of you. Trust me, over the last 80 days that this has gone on, this has been very difficult to follow through, especially if you've been leveraged. Very difficult. 71 days. Anyway, I digress. This is something where we are closer to the bottom than we are the top. And I believe we are going to have a slow grind up. And all these Twitter Mongols, they're going to eventually turn bullish. And it's because that's the catalyst. And once everyone is bullish, that's when we need to start being greedy. We know this, but our emotions are trying to hold us back from pain. And so when we see this stuff, we panic more. And it's fear mongering. It's awful, that's what they do. But that's my catalyst. And this is Johnny Crypto. If you need to help trade, I've got a link in the description. We use low leverage 3 to 5x. And more so than not, we spot and we hodl. Till next time. Here to help you guys make some money.